The main thing that you need when you're looking for an entry, what is the main things that you want to look at? Is it 461s? Yeah, those are important. 261s, 78s. What else? No. The main thing that you need to look at is trend strength. Trend strength, especially when you're picking a high or low, or even a breakout. Now I'm going to look at a few patterns here, and I'm going to show you where I made my boo-boo when I was being a little too aggressive. All right, let's take a look at the S&P chart. On the 15-minute chart, hey, there is the 78% range. There's a deep followed by a shallow. Now, this is not quite accurate. This is not shallow. This is super shallow. All right? Hey, RJ, how you doing? This is super shallow. So that was a thing that you got to be a little bit careful of. Okay. I just called it shallow. And then from here, I'm taking the 261. The average is this amount, okay, the double bottom and this high, low, low guy. But let's take a look at this guy real carefully. Okay, that's super shallow, and you want to kind of keep it, be careful with that. So let's take a look at the S&P 15-minute chart and see what it is that needed to be done. So again, this is super shallow. You see that? That's kind of like a red flag. Okay, all right, but let's take a look at the zone that we were talking about. I didn't do this one. I was actually in another one. Okay, so the zone that we're looking at, if you're thinking about going short, here's a 78, and just reproduce all of these other guys here. To make a long story short, you're right around 1789. I was thinking about 1789 and a quarter. Okay, but let's take a look at how let me reproduce all of these things. How adjustments need to be made when you are in a trade to determine whether you're right or wrong. Okay, so if you look at all these patterns here, there's one in here. Okay, so if you're looking at the average 1788 and a half, 1789, let's say you got in right around there. Let's say you got in 89 and a quarter, like what I was thinking of. Okay, if you did get in over there, where do you put your stop? Initially, right above there. What else? Well, now you manage it, right? The way I manage it is down to the 1-minute chart. And the 1-minute chart will tell you what is it that you want this thing to do. Obviously, you want it to go down. So if you got short over there, and your stop initially is way up there, you made a move above here, but you have these little guys in here, okay? See that? So you say, well, this is just a little bit of noise. I'm taking a little bit of heat. I didn't get stopped out yet, but these things that I'm drawing in can help, okay? Because if I was short at, say, 89 and a quarter, which is right around, down here somewhere, I'm taking a little bit of heat. But I say to myself, I can still take the heat here because, this is a little bit ouch, but it won't run away from me. Okay? So again, 89 and a quarter, you're short. And what you want to do is look to see what actually transpired around the 78%. And what transpired? Okay. Now you have a deep retracement, and here you are rooting for it to make a lower high, lower low. but it's coming off of a deep retracement, right? So it makes a move over here, and at this time, you may want to put a stop above there, okay? And now, once this thing makes a move below there, what do you have here? You got deep retracement, even deeper one, but better yet, you have a measure move within the measure move right here on this leg. This is a leg that is really telling you that it wants to bounce. Why? Because this looks like a medium deep situation here, right? Now when this thing moves down below here, confirming both measure moves and deep and deeper here, you really want to aim for these lows here and get out, pretty much scratching it right here. Because this guy in here is the third one in a series, and this one won't even make it to its 461. It, you know, it almost did. But this is something that tells you, look, this is a measure move within a measure move. It is a deep retrace, medium deep. Well, 50%. But the two guys are deeper and deeper. Get the heck out over here. This is not wanting to go down. These deeps are really telling you a telltale sign because you have the deep dominant and the deep first level supporting structure. So if you were in this one and you happen to watch it go sideways, the sideways things will really tell you that the moment it gets below these lows here, this one and this one, they're the same. Then this one becomes a point C of a confirmed measure move, dominant. This one becomes a supporting structure. Once it breaks below here, deep and deeper, this is not going to go down too much. In fact, it went straight up. All right. So this is the kind of thing where you want to be aware of. Another thing I want to show you is the short that I did on crude oil. This was not a good day for me. Here I see a measure move within the measure move here. I got short right at 94.50. Okay. Ouch. Took a lot of heat there. But again, see these things here? I got out at 94.49. So I made a tick right here for the same reasons that I just talked about there. Because this is medium, this is deep, very deep. So this is going to have a hard time going down. Well, guess what? It did go down, right? Yeah, hallelujah. Now, at first blush, you might think, now that's shallow. That's even shallower. This thing can go down a little bit further. Is that true? Yeah, because it suddenly gets, shallower and shallower. But wait, because of the dominant being deep and the first level deep, the dominant, 261, the first level. Now this gets a little tricky. Am I going to use this guy here? Or am I going to use this guy here? Well, what do we have? We sort of have some sort of combo B coming off the high. Would this be a good place to initiate new short? You got to be careful. Okay. Now, once it makes higher lows, higher highs, this is where it turned. Now, this is not a full-blown series, but because the dominant is not very deep, 50%, and then this is deeper and deeper and medium deep, all of these guys, again, when they're lined up like this, even though it blew down here quick, we don't have a dominant deep and then followed by shallow or super shallow. Okay? So I was looking at this and I said, I don't know what to do here, but once I see this coming, then you know that there might be something. For example, there, 78, right? Now, mathematically, there were some combos up around here. But this thing did go up, but because of a deep measure move within the measure move, that one did offer a little drop. Okay. So I took the heat there and I got out making a tick just to scratch this thing. But when this thing moved down over here, okay, is it on its way? It could be if more shallows showed up, right? So I was watching other markets, gold and other things, and all of a sudden, we have a motion to the upside. Now that's a higher low, higher high. That tells you that the market may have made a motion to the upside. We don't know. Depends on what the next patterns are. Again, I was looking at gold and other markets, so I wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, I came back here, and here's what I found. That's a medium deep retracement. It broke above here. There's a measure move within the measure move. Now, my next series of numbers are right about here. 94.80 something. Here. I'm going to go short here. I went short there at 94.89. Now, question, is that a good place to go short? Now, here's what I made the mistake in. Again, don't try this at home. You have this guy here, 461. Yeah, this other guy here, 461. Now, I'm teeing off of these two guys, right? Somewhere in here, I'm going to go short, and it shouldn't go above here, the highest of the two, 461, right? Here's what I made a mistake on. I saw it, but I didn't pay much attention. Look at this. From here to here. Now, I'm going to open it up. Even if I were to call this point C, even if I were to call that point C, how deep is that? Is that retracement right there? Super shallow. Now there's a guy inside here that's a little deep measure move. But this guy being super shallow makes it a little risky. In other words, once it breaks above here, can it catch it and drop? Well, this being super shallow, you want to be a little bit like, remember, this is medium deep, another medium, and then super shallow. So from here, what's the next guy looking like on the 1 minute? Now, if you have a lot of super shallows, you want to say, look, let me get out. If I look at this 2-bar wide guy, look at that, super shallow again. So right here, I got stopped out, and I said, no, this is crazy. This is just coming on too strong. Now, if you watch and look at more, if you have more shallows than deeps, in fact, if you have more super shallows than deep, you really want to say, look, I don't want to fight this trend. I'm going to take the low from here up to here. This 3-bar wide. Look at that. Super shallow again. Okay. Let's say you have mathematical numbers over here. If you did have numbers over here to short, keep in mind that you're coming off of a super shallow, deep, super shallow again. So if you were to go short somewhere around here, here's what you need to do. I didn't do that. I was already out for a walk because I was so upset with myself. Look at this. How deep is that? Pretty deep. Drops down to here. Wouldn't follow through. Why? More bullish energy involved, right? How deep is that? Still pretty deep, right? Guess what? Just like the before, this one may or may not have a chance to do that for you. And then what happens after that? You come right back with shallow right skew again. So this is something that tells you that not only did you get stopped out over here, you want to say to yourself, this is just not ready to roll over yet. Deep's coming off this high, shallow's coming off this low. Popped above that high. And the high was 35. So this little rotation here tells you that the upward trend strength is still there. So this is something that, you know, stay away from any sign of shorting until much later. Sean says, that is not a lot. That is not a no business being up here move like we talked about. That's what they. Well, if it's a no business being up here move, still needs some sort of slowing down mechanism. Okay, if this thing has made a concerted 100-point move from 94.20 to 95.20, and you exhibit deeps coming down here, you just want to step aside and not expect that this 100-point move to be reversed unless you have some major news or things pushing it down. Okay. Now this has no business being up here. Okay, wait a minute, down lower. Oh, you're talking about over here? Above here? Has no business being up here type of thing? Is that what? Okay. Well, does it have any business coming above there? Okay. Now, if you have a deep dominant and a deep first level supporting structure, and the next one's still pretty deep. Now, if you have raw combo B with a little measure move and a measure move here, and then the market decides to go high lows, higher highs, there is a reason why this may happen. There could be a reason why. Although the dominant is not very deep, we got two deeps, or three if you count this guy. Okay. So if you look at the dominant 261 and all these inner patterns here, which are supporting structures, to go along with the dominant 261, there's a reason why this goes up around here. Okay. This is shallow. I get that. But the first four guys, well, the first one is not very deep. He's medium deep. Now, it's the first one that's not very deep that causes the move down. If this one was deep and the other thing was deep, it'll just peak below here a little bit and not follow through. Okay. So it's the dominant 261 and three 461s. Averaging with it. So does it have any business being up there? You have to admit that it could be a reason why it should come up. Remember, if you have a super shallow dominant, you need two deeps following to support it. This one is not super shallow, it's shallow. But all these other deeps here, this is not running away too far down. So this was the reason for this upward move and a lot of upward move. Now, if I have seen this as a deeper retracement, then this would be a better thing. I would be thinking long more so. But the dominant is not extremely deep. Okay, if it was deeper, then that would light my eyes up and say, hey, deep dominant. But these guys, three of them, helping this guy who's not too deep, combo B. Now, you might ask, all right, now, that's not combo B. If I want to say combo B, I need to add this guy in, right? Or this guy in, right? That's combo B, isn't it? Well, if the market decides to go high lows, higher highs at the raw combo B, you have to say, well, that's got to be it. Now, here's the no business being up here routine. Let me show you in diagram form. I don't remember which market has that. But here's the diagram form. Okay. I got a deep over here. The first level supporting structure is here. And it's shallow here. Now, looking at this, the dominant 261 is down there. The first level supporting structure is way down there. This is not even combo A, let alone, you know, any other reason for the bounce. If this bounces up above here, then it has no business being up there, then it'll go down. Because this is not a combo. This is deep, maybe. This is shallow. It has no business being up there because this is a very, very curious situation. What is going on here? Is that any reason for the bounce? The answer is that, yeah, from here to here, there could be a lot of deeps here that bounces it up, but not due to this big guy. Inside of here on the 1 minute chart, there could be some 461 or inner measure move within measure move that popped it up over here. All right. But based on this guy being A, B, C, the dominant, and the smaller one here, based on these two guys, it has no business being up here. But over here, you need to also see some extensions here. In this case, there was a combo series down here. So the upward move is expected, but the upward move started out, not so strong here, and then all of a sudden, this is the guy. This is the guy that tells you. Now, this is a measure move within a measure move that's pretty deep, right? I was leaning on that guy to go short around here. Bad idea, because the more, the bigger mama here is very, very shallow. And you can see that they were shallow, 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 and shallow here already. But this one was the one that knocked it out, wider to do all that. So that was a bad, break. It's a breakout long, not a shorted on the new highs. This is a little bit better because this guy was deep and has a chance to stretch all the way up. Okay, a little bit better. Now, I thought this was pretty good too, right? But then, let me put it this way. If this one's right here and then it comes like this, you don't want to short it here anymore, because now it's deep and then followed by super shallow. It's not going to do this on you. It's going to do this because it's super shallow. So that was a bad decision over there. And of course, after that, there was a lot of deeps off the top, shallows off the lows. Look at this, right skew. Deeps coming off the lows. So there's a lot of, and then towards the end of the day, it finally did something. I just checked, but I wasn't around. Now it has some deeps here. And then when it popped above here, this is where a lot of the super extreme numbers are. But that's towards the end of the day, and how much, strength does it have to push it down with a 5 minute chart. It may still work its way down tomorrow. But for today, we have this upward move that took the entire bulk of the day to ride to the upside. All right? So this is, now we have some 461s over here. Let me go to the 5 minute chart. We have a lot of 461s up over here already. But those 461s, they don't mean squat unless you have slowing down pattern. By the way, we don't have a deep off of this low here. That's another thing that's a little iffy. We don't have a deep local dominant off of this low. That's another red flag. Right? We have 461s, yes. That's why I did this other short over here. But off of this low here, this is shallow. This is wider. Does the wider knock out this guy here? If so, then which one stays as a dominant? Maybe this guy here. This is medium, and then they got shallower here, right? So this is not really we didn't start off with a deep. If you have a deep here, it would be a lot more helpful to think short. Now, over here, obviously, is deep. It is this guy's deep that needed to be included. All right? It's this guy's. You say, wow, 41? He's way up there. Yeah, if you take all the averaging here, you may need to include that guy in, which is what pulled it so. I'm going to do that later tonight. Okay. This is what may be the ending point of this move. You have to take all the 461s that are still valid, and then you can see how, whether you include this guy's 461 or 261 along with local slowing down patterns is what you need. Here's a 261 to go along with these 461s. If we are above that already, when we're doing, right skew shallow to new highs, then this guy needs to be squished up because it's obviously going to not stop until this guy gets averaged in. And locally here is probably when that happens. But this may happen towards the end of the day. And now let me zoom out for you guys. I'm going to zoom out for you guys here. Okay. I'm going to go to the daily chart. Now, we have switched over to the January, so I'm not too familiar with this one yet. If you look at this guy over here, we're sort of gone through the 261, I'm sorry, the 78 of this guy here. Now, this is almost like a makeshift, well, this is why it's a little tricky. So I take this guy or that guy, right? So it went kind of like in that zone there. Now, here's the it has no business being up here trade. When this thing moves above here on this daily chart, this one looks like a shallow, made a low over here already. Remember, I can't call this shallow or deep unless it's a shallow or deep point C. It can only be a point C if point B gets taken out right here, okay? If this is A, B, C, then price has to go below B to make this into an A, B, C, D measure move. Only then do I have a confirmed point C. And only then can I say it is shallow or deep. In this case, shallow. This one was also shallow. So if this thing had a chance to move above here tomorrow or maybe overnight, then it'll be, has no business being up here routine. Let me go down to the hourly chart. Okay. So this thing went all the way up. Again, local trend strength. It went all the way up. Didn't quite hit these highs over here. You can see that we have a deep, dominant, and so forth. So if this thing rolls over tomorrow, this has a chance to continue on going down after testing this today. Okay, but tomorrow's Friday, and that could be interesting to say the least. If you can see it a shallow off of this daily, 60-minute chart, then that's a very, very good dominant that is shallow off the highs here. Okay, see this? It hasn't rolled over yet, seen on the 15, but if it did, then this high would have been spoken for. Okay, so these are some of the things that you want to keep an eye out on. We do have this guy as a very, very deep dominant, yes. From here we get shallower and shallower. So this guy, in other words, I still think it may drop tomorrow due to this guy being deep. But the mistake that I made was right here, it was still not finished, taking a last piece of move to the upside yet. Because from here to here, which is the bulk of the early morning up move, was the strong move. Again, what does strong move mean? More deeps in one direction versus the other. So if you have deeps, I will be very nervous if I see this. If I'm short here and this retest 78, I want this next one to come through as a shallow or super shallow. If it comes over here and then this goes up like this and then down, then now I'm in good shape. But if this thing moves up like this, okay, and then double bottoms it, and then it tries to go up again, and then I'll be nervous. It may or may not go down. Even if it did go down, I'll say deep, 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 and this could possibly be having an influence. These deeps over here, in terms of how far this can move down. Okay. Now, can you have shallow and shallow following these deeps and cause it to go down a little bit further? Yeah, you could. Okay, but keep in mind that if you have such a situation, your deep dominant may exert itself somewhere near combo B, and this downward move may be waning, maybe terminating, maybe losing energy. Again, we want either the dominant to be shallow, or if it's deep, we want to have a few shallows following the dominant. So if this thing, I'm on a 1 minute, if this thing moves down, here's a 5 overnight, then that high could have been a high. So if you have mathematical numbers here or here or here, then this is where this pattern needs to be, the choppy chop chop pattern here, where you finally have to see the transition. Let me show you the transition. Remember what we talked about, higher lows, higher highs, or lower highs, lower lows, right? I mean, deeps in one direction, shallow in another direction. So I'm going to draw this out and ask you guys, here's a measure move to the upside. Is that deep or shallow? What I'm saying, I'm always referring to point C. That seems to be shallow. And skew to the right. How about this? Medium shallow, double top. Hang on. They're doing maintenance work around this time of the day. So, medium and deep. This is not ready to go down yet, all right? Remember, this is medium, all right? Now, off of here, we have medium deep, even deeper. You see, now point C here is deeper going this way. Shallow, well, this was medium deep and then double. Now we have this little iteration here from this high to this low, and from this low to this high. It has a little bit of a flip. It flipped around a little bit, meaning coming from here to here, deep point C. From here to here, shallow, medium shallow. You know, double tap to neutralize it. So here, after this thing finishes going up here, then that may be the beginning of the turnaround. Now the turnaround, if you look at this chart here, okay, that's super shallow coming off the high on the 5-minute chart. Okay, now going up, deep, deep, deep. So now we have deeps coming off this low, shallows coming off this high. So it's even more dramatic. But it took this whole day of sideways-ish pattern of no trading to see this transition going on. So the transition isn't just, you know, shallow, super shallow, but you can see these inner patterns here, and these inner patterns there, and these inner measure moves here to tell you whether, see this, from this high, the so-called dominant right here is medium. This high, the so-called dominant, ooh, very shallow. The move off of here, medium deep, and even deeper. The move off of here is deep, even deeper, medium deep, and hey, we haven't traveled too far yet, and we've made it 1, 2, 3, 4 rotations already. This one we made 1 and 2. Oh, we're up here already. So there's a lot of, you know, from up energy to down energy being, being played out as you watch this whole sideways mess. Again, if you're doing short, then this is what you need to wait for. If you're long, once you see this, like this guy is right skew here, right here, skew to the right. This is skew to the right. That means bullish energy is still intact. Okay, but when you see the flip, either shallow, well, let's not talk about skewing. If it's shallow, well, medium shallow one way and deep the other way, or vice versa, then the flip happens. And this actually would force you to do secondary entry, which is safer if you want to not try to pick a high or a low on the fly. I was kind of watching it with one eye. I wasn't doing anything already, knowing that I'm sort of off target today due to lack of focus. All right, let me stop recording here.